This is a free speech.
It's a freedom of speech ball. You can write whatever you want.
Yeah, that's not freedom of speech. That's hate.
What's hate?
That Trump thing.
If you write Trump 2020 supporting the sitting president?
How is that hateful?
How is that hateful? Have you seen people in cages? Have you seen kids in cages? Have you seen the way he talks to people and he talks about people who are of color?
The free speech ball, though?
What are you supporting, you know?
The free speech ball, though. It's the point is we want to allow you guys.
Sanctuary. No, I believe in free speech.
Yeah.
But free speech should, if it's hateful, free speech, there should be a consequence for that.
So how do we differentiate between like real hate speech and what is free speech? Like how do you decide what's offensive? You know
for
what I'm
example,
saying?
black people are monkeys.
That's
Is that hateful?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Is that hateful?
Yeah.
So should I be able to walk around with a T-shirt saying
In my opinion,
people are racist?
I mean, yeah, I think you should. If you want to walk around with
Oh yeah. Look at the strength of this individual.
Oh my God, this should be like my thumbnail for the thing.
Politics on my shoulders. Everyone elevate.
Okay. This is going to be the intro.
This is conservatism in 2020.
They lost their minds. All right, guys, my name is Saleem Juma, your host of the Colored Conservatives. I'm here at the TPUSA free speech event. As you can see, we have a giant ball that's all about freedom of speech. We're going to take that ball, we're going to throw it at people. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to play some games. I actually don't know anything if we're going to do that, but I'm probably going to do that. Don't get mad at me later, folks. So apparently, from what I'm hearing from my source in TPUSA, there was an Antifa counter-protest yesterday, and a factional alliance of Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and LGBT clubs was counter-protesting this event. Apparently yesterday they were stealing the signs, they were doing this and that, bunch of shenanigans. Obviously we don't know for sure what happened. We only have TPUSA's side of the story, so we're gonna go try and find out what's going on, folks. So with that, stay classy, America. Is this the counter protest?
No, this is not the next club union.
Oh, this is just a club?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought there was a counter protest or something.
No, we have a Latinx club on Thursdays.
I might come have one later. Can you guys tell me about why you guys put the X next to Latin?
So that we can be inclusive to all people, because there are people who are like gender non-conforming or like, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
How do a lot of Latinos feel about that? Because I know Latin's like a gendered language, and they feel like I've talked to some Latinos, and they feel like it's taking away from their roots with the gendered language. Do you think that's?
A mix.
It's a mix.
It's
kind of differentiated opinions.
No, it's not. It's literally just a mix. Whoever feels it, like
They can
like
take
their
it.
own personal opinion. But people really don't get offended.
Okay.
Like, it's not gonna offensive me.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, you want bread though?
I will take one. I promise you I will come back
Okay,
and take
come
one.
back.
I'm going to go check things out, and we'll probably come back. Okay, miss?
Israel Presley, Shamar Phelps,
Xavier LeBrun.
Okay, it's good to meet you guys. So, first off, I want to ask y'all, what do you guys think about what's going on with this free speech event?
I found it very interesting. I mean, as you can see, I got my button right here, you know. So, like, I love free speech.
Can you show your button to the camera?
Oh, yeah, I got a couple of them. So
Okay, what are the buttons? What do they say?
Free the first.
Okay, yeah.
Then we got the capitalism conserves. So I like that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so like me, it's uncommon in especially up here in Washington to have that many colored conservatives up here. So it's like, you know, for me, I'm really kind of conservative. I'm more so extreme middle. Like I'm not for any side.
I'm like that too. I have left-leaning beliefs as well.
So, you know, but this free speech ball really shows like, okay, gives me hope that like we're able to come right on this ball and like share different ideas.
You're able to come right on this ball?
Well, you
set yourself up.
Yes, I did. Okay, you know, but we're able to go and we were able to ride on this ball and then have discussions about it without people bursting out to arguments, getting ready to, just being angry. Like, there's no need for that. Like, we're at a college campus. Every last one of us are entitled to, for one, critically think. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, if you're not able to critically think and have a critical conversation, then you don't belong here.
And y'all are adults too. Like, I've never understood this thing with like the hate speech and like you can't express certain ideas. What do you two think?
Bro, I'm a grown man, I don't really got time for going back and forth. People are entitled to their opinions. Do I necessarily agree with it, all the way? No, not really. But at the same time, I'm not going to, try to be a dictator, stop what they're trying to say. But, they're going to get their point across, and I'm also going to get my point across as well. And, that's how we could compromise and work something out. I'm a Christian, so, I love everybody, equally, and I treat others how I want to be treated. So that's very important for me. But at the same time, am I going to agree with it all the way? Nah, but, I still got love for them, though.
Okay, what about you?
It's kind of a different experience for me because I was raised very liberal and still am pretty liberal. It's just nice hearing a different opinion and seeing where they come from, because you don't get a lot of that in Seattle because it's mostly liberal or almost all liberal.
Or even extreme left.
Exactly. And it's just nice seeing the other side and trying to experiment a little to test my own beliefs.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel too, man. My parents are liberal Democrats, and it's like, I grew up liberal, but I kind of pushed over to the right just because, for me, I'm a free speech extremist, right? Unless you are directly inciting violence, I feel like whatever you're doing is not an issue. And I feel like, do you think that maybe hate speech laws could become, authoritarian and a very slippery slope? Maybe push people, maybe be used to hurt people on the left as well.
Well, my thing is this, the moment, like I said, free speech laws and hate speech laws, they impact all of us. I could understand once it becomes targeting, yes, you need to draw that line. Yeah. But I shouldn't feel, like I could be attacked because I accidentally misgender somebody. Yeah. Because for me, I have a few friends that are trans, and even
same here.
And I've known them for years, and still I misgender them at times, and do they give me hate for it? Absolutely not, because when you know someone before their transition, you got that whole idea.
I know.
So,
I feel the same way.
And so it's but I've also had the flip side when people who didn't know what our relationship was like, I've gotten so much hate for it just because they're like, oh, you're not being, sensitive to them. I'm like, I am. It's just, you got to also be sensitive to the fact that change comes with time, and like you said, the more they try to limit us with speech, they're going to limit every last one of our other rights, And
there's a lot of backlash right now where people are pissed because of the limiting of free speech. So a lot of people are pushing to the right purely because of free speech issues.
Exactly. Well, for me, that was my thing. I was able to, for one, I work for the NAACP. I've been part of black student unions at all my schools. And, the one thing that was hard for me was I was black. And I felt like this was supposed to be a space for me to speak out about my issues. But whenever I spoke out, one, I was getting targeted because I was a male. Yep. Apparently the left don't like straight men. So
I know.
That was one thing that was really hard for me, because I was like, man, I'm just trying to explain what's going on for me. I'm talking about the trials and tribulations I go through throughout the day to day. And you guys, you guys try to take it away from me just because I'm a straight male. At the end of the day, you act like rape wasn't used against me either. Black men throughout all the history have had rape used against them. They were raped. Their wives are raped in front of them. You had all that type. So you can only imagine what the trauma is in our DNA. So it's you got that whole idea too. So it's just I'm tired of them being so close-minded about it. That's why I made the switch to just being super neutral. I'm just I can't do it no more. I can't.
So did y'all hear about the Bernie Sanders rally? Just what was it? Just the other day at the Tacoma Dome. So there was a white guy that came up to a black guy that was wearing a Black Guns Matter shirt. And there are people on the left that do believe in gun rights, right? I mean, they're very, especially because the left, I think, is even more anti-authoritarian than the right is. So it would actually make sense for them to have gun views like that. But basically, he said, you aren't worried about black lives. You're not looking at black lives. And basically, it was like he was trying to educate a black man on his own inner racism or something like that. And I was like, dog, like what you don't see is yourself trying to like educate a person of color about racism, and you don't even. And then they got in a fist fight, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's like this. Put it like this.
Yeah.
One last thing, about that. It's like, if you feel like black people are being targeted, wouldn't it make sense for black people to have guns to protect themselves?
Yep.
Same thing
That's what the Panthers did back in the 60s.
Exactly. And look how well registered, exactly.
Yeah.
And like that's what I'm saying. It's like we were able to defend ourselves back then. And the moment we were stripped away, from having our protection, and the moment that people started fighting against it, they were taking away our freedom.
I'm sorry, man. Can I talk to you real quick? Can I see that flyer real quick?
They got them over there. You go grab one.
Where they at? That lady in the blue?
What's up with it?
Okay. I'm trying to find out what the flyer looks like so I can put it on my YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm sorry I cut you off, brother.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay. And then I guess my last question would be: did y'all hear about the Dwayne Wade controversy, where his what's her name? Yeah, Boosie. That's what I was going to talk to y'all about. So Boosie said, "Don't cut this kid's balls off," right?
And did you see Young Thug what he said?
What did Young Thug say?
Young Thug practically made a tweet. He deleted it soon after, but he was like,
the controversy.
He was like, God doesn't make mistakes, but live your life, kid. Like that's what he was saying. And I'm like, my whole thing is, I was looking at the interview. Like, my thing is like, okay, if the kid wants to transition, like, it's not my call. Every human deserves certain human rights. But then when I read that D Wade was saying, oh no, she knew her gender since she was 3 years old, I was confused.
It's like, well, we don't allow kids to vote. We don't allow kids to drink. We don't allow kids to drive. Like, we don't allow kids to do so many things. Why would we allow them to change their gender? Puberty blockers, hormone therapy and shit. Yeah.
And do you also notice that it's not any white kids coming out doing this? It's mostly black boys coming out like this?
It's a lot of white kids too, but I'm saying there is an emasculation going on in the black community, and a lot of people talk about that.
To be honest, like with the whole D-Wade thing, like, I mean, I understand, him wanting to support his son and stuff like that, and I'm not, here to judge D-Wade. If that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. And I'm speaking from experience because I got 3 gay siblings, so I understand where he's coming from and stuff like that. But I always kind of did wonder why, like, hey, if you want to be gay, but kind of like, why change your gender? I feel like you're changing your identity and like who you are. It's like you got so many iconic gay people, like Harvey Milk, for example. He was a gay man, who believed in his beliefs, and a lot. He was a great icon. R.I.P. to him. And also just one of the things as well I'm seeing nowadays is a quote by Ricky Smiley, comedian. He said a problem with America's nowadays is that people don't want to see black boys with dreads, but they want to see black boys in dresses.
Yeah.
And that kind of is becoming a problem because you got like Tyler Perry's, Martin Lawrence, so many of these people like playing women and stuff like that, and
which is fine. Like, that's not an issue. It just feels like, and I feel like a lot of black people I've talked to, especially black conservatives, they say that there's like this emasculation going on.
I have a little bit of a different opinion because, like, when growing up, I had a trans parent, and I know their experience. So I kind of saw into D Wade, and he is doing the right thing by supporting his daughter, and like, I don't think that they should do gender reassignment surgery right away. But
what about puberty blockers and hormone therapy?
I'm not sure about those either. I don't have the proper research, but I think you should wait to have the full transition. But for now, at least use their preferred gender pronouns and stuff like that. Just because be polite. Like, it doesn't have to be an issue.
I can agree with that. Like, I don't mind using someone's preferred pronouns, but the thing is, if it's enforced on me, that's the minute people start saying, all right, now we're going to have a protest. Now we're not going to use it. I'm going to start identifying as the Emperor, Dragon King, or some shit like that,
Yeah, I don't think anybody should go too far in either direction. It's just be polite to both sides because both sides are people.
Yeah.
And that's what we care about, right?
And, like, the other big thing, too, again, like, it's like this. When you have such a big push for it, especially at such a young age, like, again, that's my issue. It's like, how do you know? For one, you're saying you were born in the wrong body. Like, you know, what do you say to kids who take, like, nothing against them? I have people who are mentally disabled, but what do you say about mentally disabled people? Like, they don't get to say they were born into the wrong body and switch up. That to me is definitely more so preference based. It's not a necessity to me. And it's like, you know, for me, I'm not saying you shouldn't do, like, again, do what you got to do, but just don't expect my support for it. Like, I'm be like, look, that's what you do. I can't necessarily support you on it. I'll call you by your preferred, you know, pronouns because I'm respectful that way. But I can't support the fact that you're saying that your you know, born son was identifying as female at the age of 3, because most kids at that age don't even know the difference. Yeah. Like, you don't know your sexual orientation. Like, I was more so focused on toys and playing with, you know.
I was playing with Beanie Babies when I was like 6 or 7, bro.
I was playing with footballs and all that stuff at that age. So it's like, I'm not worried about the girls yet. Like, I'm focused on, let's see who's the strongest. Let's see who can run the fastest. Let's go play cops and robbers. Let's, you know, like, let's just have fun. Let's live our life. Not, oh, I'm 5 years old. I'm attracted to men. Like,
how many kids have you seen, like, little kids say, all right, mom, dad, I'm gay? No, it happens after puberty. Everything changes after puberty, so you can't be sure until after puberty.
Yes.
Well, see, but that's free speech. You know, y'all can cross it out and shit. You know what I'm
Really?
saying?
Free speech is the KKK? Is that free speech?
I mean, I don't like the KKK, but unfortunately, yeah, they do have free speech.
Yeah, fuck
Hey,
the KKK.
fuck the KKK. I'm right there with you guys, but I mean, they still got freedom of speech, right? You know what I'm saying?
Why though?
Well, what are we supposed to do?
People in my country get in prison for talking against the government. The government here.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
They should be able to speak.
They should be able to speak, but.
Where? Do you mind if I ask where you're from?
Vietnam. I'm from here.
Okay.
I'm first generation though.
Okay. Yeah. It's rough. It's rough, and yeah, I feel it, man. Like, it can be rough when you speak out against the government and stuff, man, especially in other countries.
Right for you to silence other people by crossing out?
If it's Trump, fuck that shit. Honestly, I'm sorry. Excuse my language.
It's all good, man. We're not tripping about it. You guys say what y'all need to say.
The ball thing.
It's like a giant ball taking up a lot of space.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a free speech ball. You can, like, write whatever you want on it. Personally, I'd love to play, like, not volleyball or something like that, but I'd love to take it and just, I don't know, play catch or something. I think that'd be pretty fun. But you're basically supposed to write things on it. What do you think? Like, some people have been writing Trump 2020, and then some people have been crossing it off. How do you feel about, like, people just, like, feeling free to express themselves?
It's a good thing. Freedom of speech is a right that everyone has.
I absolutely agree. Do you feel like some of the comments could be made that like be hateful though?
You mean on the ball or just in general in the United States?
On the ball. Let's start with an easy one.
Assuming it's not hate speech that's inciting violence, because that is not protected.
Banned by the Constitution.
You know, then it's fine. If someone is saying fuck Trump, it's just as valid as someone saying fuck Bernie.
Yeah. What do you think of the ball?
I think it's great. I think that having multiple opinions be heard is actually a very good thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that what you said about crossing Trump 2020 off, I think that's kind of childish because, no, you're right. But I think that there's kind of a weird thing where if I were to take a pen and cross off Bernie 2020, I'd be crucified. You know.
Yeah, and that's not right. Like, you should have the right to express your opinion.
I agree that it should be one big thing. I believe that.
I think you should have to defend your opinion. If you want to cross off Bernie 2020, I think you should have to defend that opinion.
Exactly. I think that being able to cross something out or being able to defend your opinion is definitely a good thing. Mm-hmm. And I do think this whole thing is a very good way to go about it. I just think that sometimes there's just a weird kind of double standard going on, in which, you know,
I think not only that, but that allows the right to paint themselves as victims, because I'm on the right myself, but I definitely see. So what I see is, like, when Caitlin Bennett goes to, like, Ohio University and she's able to get that clip played on Fox News over and over again with the kids, like, surrounding her and pouring coffee on her and shit, that paints her as a victim. I literally said this before she went on Fox News. I was like, dude, she's literally going to take this, paint herself as a victim, and then be like, all liberal college students are bad. Like, it's just like I don't know, man. Like, we can't we can't create that narrative. It would be better to push the narrative that we can come here and discuss things, but then also we have to talk about the problem of people, being attacked for supporting Trump and conservatives. Exactly. There was that situation just on I think ASU where they tore down the tent where he was handing out these flyers, the TPUSA ones, the van driving through, the Antifa guy punching a 15-year-old Trump supporter in the face. So it's just kind of this point of polarization where I think we need to talk more, no?
Exactly, yeah. And I think definitely talking more would probably help a lot. But I think the thing is that both sides, and this goes for the right side as well, both sides, I don't want to say ignorant because I don't want to put words in people's mouths or in thoughts, but I do want to say both sides are sometimes have a lack thereof understanding, and I think that sometimes both sides don't really see the other's view and they just write it off as, oh, you're wrong because you don't think like me, and I think that's a really big issue in this whole country.
Echo chambers.
Yeah.
Hug boxes. Safe spaces.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like that we would get a lot farther if we just kind of discuss things appropriately and in a matured manner. But I honestly don't think that's gonna be our generation at all. As sad as it is to say, I don't think that's gonna be anywhere close. Like that, we might reach that point in like, the 23rd century or something, you know what I mean?
I know that political polarization is getting worse, and that's why I think we need to do more of this, not less.
Yes, for sure. And this is
Did you say you identify more with the right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable saying that on camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I love the cat hat, by the way. I'm a big Pokemon fan.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Fan, my dude.
Yeah. I normally don't really express because. What my issue is that sometimes I don't like talking about politics unless it's like brought up. Other times it's like, I don't really care all that much.
I want to make sure that we get. Let's. Sorry, we got to finish
totally
this
fine,
up. Yeah, I want to make sure that we're getting the main. But thank you.
Yeah,
thank
of course.
You.
Yeah.
How is taxation?
I believe in taxes. I just believe in less taxes. Yeah, it's just a funny sign.
I don't believe in taxes at all, and I believe we should all be able to have tanks.
Have tanks?
Yeah. If I want to drive a tank through the streets of Seattle, I should be allowed to do that.
Are we not allowed to?
Actually, you might be. I'm not sure. I did see a YouTube video where this guy was driving a tank through the streets of London, but that is England, and who the fuck knows with them, so... I'm just kidding. I don't really want to get a tank. What?
I really would love to own a nuke.
I don't think we should go that far.
So guess what? He is a Bernie Sanders supporter. He's a communist, and he is one of my best friends here.
You're a communist?
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
Damn. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
But guess what? We are able to have civil discourse,
Yeah.
and not every student on campus is crazy.
Yeah.
He's a good example.
You mean we don't fight each other on a daily basis physically?
No,
We're not?
I know. Do you want to? We can brawl it out.
Let's go. Psych me this.
So is everything going pretty well? No crazy reactions or anything like that?
We have definitely had crazy reactions, but it's nothing like yesterday and last week.
Yeah.
However, the thing that I have come to determine is that students are very open-minded here. They're free thinkers. There's a lot of free thinkers here, but the problem is that teachers are preventing them from being free thinkers.
Yeah.
We had a staff member yesterday, anytime a student walked up to our table, would steal the signs out of their hands, cross out their sign-ups, and say, this is a racist organization, they're racist, they're white supremacists, to every single student that came up to us.
What about those flyers that they were handing out?
Yeah, so last week they handed out flyers to teachers, students, and staff.
They're still handing them out today.
And today, and they are using school resources to hand them out, so that's defamation. But honestly, the problem is that they are actually promoting violence against me because there's a lot of mentally ill people in the world that actually believe now that I'm a white supremacist.
Like that guy that tried to run you down?
Yeah, they tried to kill me last year.
Yeah, with the car.
With the car, yep.
Twice.
2 times. And I thought that maybe they would be, wow, this girl is so brave for coming back here, but instead they have tried to destroy my reputation, destroy me. They just want me off campus because they can't handle another view on campus. And this school, I honestly believe, is an evil indoctrination school. it's unbelievable. I can't even describe what has happened.
Well,
But the flyers.
I think that's why we usually say that the problem is usually the leftist professors, not the students themselves. Students are just brainwashed. It's the same thing with like Antifa, right? It's Jamie Jameson, not the kids, not the 16, 17-year-old kids that roll with Jamie. It's Jamie Jameson.
Exactly. So the flyers painted me as a racist, a Nazi,
Yeah.
and a white nationalist, which I am not. I denounce white nationalism. I denounce white supremacy. I denounce Nazis. I denounce racists. But the problem is that teachers are actually showing the flyers in their own classes. I've had.
Are they what? They're showing them in classes?
Oh yes. So the social justice teacher here goes through my social media posts
In her class?
in his class to discuss the racism. In my own social media posts, we have an astrology teacher that talks about me in Turning Point USA in his class.
What the fuck does that have to do with astrology?
Exactly, and we have an English teacher.
You don't know that?
I am probably the most hated person on campus, but the reason they hate me so much is that I have yet to back down.
Yeah.
And I think I'm starting to make an impact. I'm waking up students' minds. They want to join. I've signed up about 300 students that are so interested in Turning Point. They want another view. They want to be represented on campus, but they are physically not allowed to be represented here.
I have talked to conservative students that are afraid to express their views. Yeah, they're afraid. They said they'll get canceled, they'll get assaulted, so.
Their grades suffer.
Yeah, that too. No, some professors will give you an F for writing the wrong opinions, and that's not cool.
And the thing that is so messed up here is that this is our tax dollars going. We are paying for indoctrination.
Has hateful stuff left Donald Trump's mouth? Yes or no?
I haven't heard it if it has. Like, you're going to have to cite specifically what you think is hateful just to like it.
He generalized Muslims as being terrorists, which I think is incorrect. Now, is there terrorists that practice Islam? Of course. But he made the generalization, which I think is incorrect. Just like I can't generalize all white people for being racist, which is not right. So I think that is an incorrect policy. So,
and I agree with you. If he did say something like that, I wouldn't agree with that either.
I feel like he does not represent what America should be, in my opinion.
America was built by immigrants. Irish, Chinese, African Americans.
Because, like, yeah, I think we should just start off with that.
Well, it's like this though, right? When you have 1.5 million people trying to attain citizenship, right?
Yeah.
You can't just let hella people into your country because that's going to also affect jobs.
Yeah.
That we're already suffering with like the amount of people we have now. So it's like, we already have hella people that are already homeless. That's not saying like, okay, you come and you get your citizenship, right?
Yeah.
How are you gonna sustain yourself once you get here? And that's more tax money that's going to finding more programs to help them sustain themselves. And I'm not against, people coming up here and finding refuge. Like, no, that's like they need to seek asylum here. Okay, that's what America's been known for. We've always been the big brother country.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing is, where do you, like, the best option? Like, you got to find the best option. Like, I honestly do feel like the best decision would be to invest in more facilities at the border to at least give these kids a chance to succeed. Not so much go ahead.
Yeah, now that that's a problem.
It's a difference in moral code and standards, in my opinion. If you don't understand why it's wrong, then we have a difference in moral standards.
So what's the immoral thing that Donald Trump does?
Do I really have to explain that?
Yes.
I don't even need to explain it. You can look it up.
I was just about to explain that part. There shouldn't be kids locked up in cages at all. Can we both agree on that?
Yeah, we can agree on that. But here's the thing. Like, I agree on that, but what is the solution? See, I'm solution-based. You can't say kids can't be locked up in cages. Like, yes, that's an immediate issue. We need to figure that out. But you can't sit here and say that. That's my issue with people now. They're like, don't put them in cages, but you want to send them back to going to be fending them off for themselves?
So the cages were started back in 2013 or 14, and that was under Obama administration.
European countries? He hasn't banned any European countries. What do you mean? Trump. He's only banned, like, countries of color, origin.
Do you know what countries?
Yeah.
He went to Korea.
Specifically, Somalia.
He banned most of the Middle Eastern countries.
You talking about banning?
The Muslim ban that they had. I like that.
Well, it wasn't technically a Muslim ban because there are a lot more Muslim countries than the ones that he banned.
He had the religious exception for the religious minority of the country. So you're specifically going against the majority of what that country is, and what most of those countries are is Muslim.
But what are the people that attacked us? Aren't they Muslim?
It's mostly people that look like me, like white dudes shooting up the schools.
He knows.
Yeah, like.
Okay. Now, I am against Americans shooting up schools, of course, but when we have a foreign threat, we also have to protect ourselves against a foreign threat. The domestic threat, we cannot ban them from being here. Do you know what I mean? But we can ban the foreigners for coming in and doing it. I am Muslim myself, so.
Yeah. I just think, like, it's not right to ban a whole country because most of those people are innocent. How many people have you seen, like a specific number of Muslim people that have attacked this country compared to the amount of white people that have attacked
Well, it was only a small amount of time. It wasn't that long. It was just.
Back to what I was saying about 1.5 million people trying to seek asylum here and get their citizenship, right? It still doesn't change the fact, right? Okay, what are their methods for getting here? What are we going to do to keep them safe here? Because you act like, I mean, America's no utopia, you know? We got people dying by the thousands, you know, in these streets, you know? So not like there was just recently a guy who came from France to visit his wife on Valentine's Day, got his throat slit just in Harlem. Like, you know, like, that's my thing. Like, okay, you're going to put these people out here. One, it's hella expensive to live here. Two, you gotta have resources to live here. And three, you can't expect all of America to be jumping out their pants to pay taxes to support these people.
Although it is expensive, we are the highest earners pretty much in the whole world. And we do have a welfare system that does help you if you do happen to fall, which other countries do not have.
Yeah. Would you rather throw them in the streets here, or would you rather throw them in the streets over there?
Exactly. Would they be safer here or there?
I think they would be safer here.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I mean, have you guys been outside of the country? I've been to many countries, Asia, Middle East, all these places, and it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, like, again.
But the privileged here are mostly white people or people, you know, who are lighter in skin tone. Okay, and you are one of them. Sorry.
Wait.
I'm Muslim. I'm Middle Eastern.
Why are you talking about Trump? Sorry.
Well, like, again, going back to, like, what you're saying. So, like, yes, they would be safer here. But are they going to be, it's the question of sustainability, right? It's that question. And I'm like, I would rather them be here, but what are we going to do to keep them, one, off the streets? Two, what are we going to do to, you know, prevent them from being involved in crimes? Because we know that's a really big statistic. Most people who do come here, who are foreigners, not just like foreign people, I'm talking about like most people who come here without resources. That's the terminology I'll use. Most people who come here without resources, where do you think they're going to have to find their resources? Because yes, we do have welfare programs, but last time I checked, you can't survive off of welfare alone.
Well, you're not supposed to be able to survive off it for a long time. You're supposed to be able to use it while you need it and get off of it.
Exactly, but that's the thing. When you have welfare, as we can see with, you know, my group of people, black folks, it's turned into a crutch because we've become reliant upon it because of the lack of opportunities for us. You got to think there's such thing as an opportunity gap.
Do you think that Obama kind of encouraged people to be on welfare with the whole Obamacare and Obama phones and all the benefits that he was giving?
I don't think so.
And now that Trump is president, a lot of people have gotten off of welfare because of, you know.
I don't think so. I think putting people on that was a good way to sustain them while they were here. Because you got to think, like, there's a lot of people who don't have resources. You can only imagine, like, those phones probably save lives. Like, do you know how many girls get
So do jobs save lives?
Yeah.
Hmm?
I don't really agree with about the
Jobs save lives, but not everyone can get the same jobs and opportunities for jobs.
Well, no, I didn't. I mean, not everybody has to have the same job, but at least you have the opportunities. Yeah, you have opportunity here.
Yeah, I have opportunities, but a lot of people don't. Like my parents, if you speak less English, you're less likely to have the same opportunities or good opportunities in America. And you are discriminated against daily.
Well, you may have to work a janitorial job or something like that because you don't speak the language.
You don't understand what it's like or seen that probably firsthand.
How would you know that?
You're saying it in such an uncensored way. Like,
well, like, put it like this, all right? You put it like, you said get a janitorial job. Most janitors start off at minimum wage and they have to either work their way up, but working their way up is probably only $3 more an hour.
But isn't this the best country to work your way up from the bottom to the top?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
It depends on
who
you are.
Like, put it like this, right?
Like, it's more possible in America than India, obviously, but, you know.
Because caste systems and such.
Well, it's like this, right? You take a homeless guy, or you take a homeless guy, right? Let's take a random homeless guy off the street, right? Automatically, if you saw me come to the school, ripped jeans. I'm talking about ripped jeans, dirty clothes, dirty fingernails.
Like me?
No, I'm talking about like dirty fingernails, all that. And I was like, hey, I want to be a motivational speaker. Are you going to take me serious? If I'm not presenting myself a certain type of way because I have a lack of resources, I'm not going to have the same opportunity. Now, I'm not saying like I'm just using that use this for example. Let's take a criminal who was locked up for weed, right? He was selling weed,
which I'm completely against. I'm completely against locking people up for weed. I mean,
okay. So going back to that, a Democrat did that with the 3-strike rule. Let's talk about Clinton. But long story short, we have guys who are getting locked up for weed. They come out of the prisons or whatever, and they can't even get a job. So you want to talk about working from the bottom? Let's take someone who's an immigrant now. They're an immigrant. Might not be the best at speaking our language, so if you can't even communicate, what is that going to look like if you're typing via email? If someone's trying to call you to say, hey, you need to clock in at work at this time, you can only imagine how hard it is to work up that ladder. Like, it's already hard enough as a regular human being, not a regular human being, but as a regular American who's been here, a citizen, there we go, to find ways to climb up. Like, I'm struggling just to figure out, okay, what's my next step after college? What's my next step? Okay, what internship I'm going to do after this? Like, who do I got to rub elbows with to do this? Like, and I was blessed to have 2 parents, be middle class, and have all that, and it's already hard enough. And I'm already seeing all that. So it's like, you can only imagine, like, if there's someone coming in from, somewhere like, what, you want to throw a random country out there? I'm trying to think. Mexico, right? Automatic. What's the first jobs you think when you think of Mexicans?
Like,
be honest. Like, I mean, like, at the end.
I work with a lot of Mexicans, so like working in the kitchen or working
maids and such.
Exactly.
I was thinking like as chefs, but
chefs. You got
That's
chefs.
actually pretty good.
Yeah. Like
So I'm gonna see if I can get Saleem over here too.
I'm an icon, man. I'm a girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.